he's not saying you have to do X or Y most of the time, but he might say, yeah, will you in 3 months' time say, I wish I said no to that, which I have definitely said that to him so many times. Why did I say yes to this thing?
This is The After Dinner Mint, a podcast of stories I tell you at dinner. Think of the mint as the stories you tell after you've been kicked out of the restaurant, holding a mint, standing in the street, telling more honest stories with your friends than you did at the table. It's not a sermon. It's not advice. It's not self-help. We're processing what we're learning about faith and life, honestly, in community, to encourage you to do that with your God and your community. Hey guys, it's Bec. Welcome back to Season 2 of the After Dinner Mint podcast. We're so excited to be back in your earbuds. I'm here today with Rach and Amy Stopher. If you guys could introduce yourselves. Amy, you can go first.
So my name's Amy. I serve on the ministry team at Providence City, and I grew up in Perth. My parents still live in the house I grew up in. I live not with them, but I'm not married. I live on my own, live with my dog Billy. And right now I'm drinking a cup of Bengal spice tea. Have you guys ever tried it?
No.
I reckon it is one of the best teas in the world. You should try it. It's not caffeinated, so it's like a herbal tea, but it tastes kind of sweet, but there's no sugar in it. It's like a bit like chai. Anyway.
I'm so sorry. I do not like tea. Tea is just leaf water. Yeah.
Well, you might not like it, but you know.
But I appreciate.
Sorry, that was actually a cackle.
Okay. Oh,
I think it's great. Rach.
Yes. Hello, I'm Rachel. I also grew up in Perth, and my parents also live in the same house that I grew up in.
Oh,
there you go. Yes, I'm a emergency nurse by day. Well, actually, sometimes by night. It depends. And a husband. That's it. That's me. Bec?
Yeah, nice. I'm Bec. I'm the founder of Stories I Tell You at Dinner. I'm a wife to Zach and a mum to 3 little boys. I've trained as a clinical psych and worked in all the depressing places, but currently, working in the home, having fun with the magazine. Life is good. So today's topic we got in our end of year survey a couple of times, but it was like most eloquently kind of covered in this one. It would be interesting to hear a discussion on how different Christian women are experiencing the impact of hustle culture on church life and ministry. I feel like there's a disconnect between getting the rest I need as a limited human, like the spiritual, social, physical, mental rest, and what Sunday looks like within the modern church, particularly for those who participate in ministry during gatherings. It could be way too specific to my own experience, but I just wondered if it's something that other women are wrestling with. So when I was thinking about this topic, Amy was the first person to come to mind because we've kind of texted back and forth with books and articles like quite a lot. And we interviewed her in season 1 about her experience of burnout and ministry, which we'll link in the show notes. Also, Rach, you, me and Britt chatted about this in one of the early episodes. I think we called it, I Don't Want to Optimize Anymore. So kind of like to think about this chat as a part 2 to that, more like, if I don't want to go back to burnout land, how do I live now? And exploring the idea that, like, if God made us with limits before the fall for our good and commands us to rest, like, how do we weigh up, like, ministry, work and family commitments? Like, how do we rest amongst hustle culture? So I think, like, if we kind of start broad and then we can get into more specifics, like, what are the temptations you face in church and ministry among, like, a broader kind of hustle culture? Rach, no pressure, but you get to go first, mate.
I think for me, my biggest temptation is doing things for the desire to be liked by everyone. Because I would like everyone to be friends, and I would like everyone to like me and to not be angry with me. And so I will very often do things that I don't necessarily not want to do, but it may be adding another good thing when I don't have room for it, because I was like, I just don't want anyone. I just want everyone to be happy, and I don't want to be the source of people's like lack of happiness. And especially in the church, when all the ministries, everybody needs more help, and you go, well, I technically have the time. I could do more. I think that's my biggest temptation, is, which I suppose the Bible would call the fear of man, I would say, is that I just don't want to be the source of disappointment, because that would make me feel bad. And then in my day-to-day life, my temptation in the hustle of life is to be as busy as possible to distract myself from my own thoughts. I don't want to sit and talk with her because she's nuts. I don't want to listen to her.
It's a Blaise Pascal quote, isn't it? Like most of man's problem is the inability to sit in a room quietly by yourself. You're like,
Yeah, 100%. And I do struggle with that a lot, with between my phone and my work and doing things that I don't need to do is a lot of just, okay, what do I do to keep myself busy so I don't have to contemplate more like the deeper things of life, or yeah, those sort of things that I would like to avoid.
Amy?
Oh, I reckon what Rachel said has really resonated with me. Like, I think I can also be driven by wanting people to like me, or like doing the thing that is like a good girl would do, like, for want of a better way of describing it. Like, that's what I should do, and so I'll do that. I do reckon another one that's maybe the partner that goes with fear is pride.
Oh,
and
yes.
so yeah, I think sometimes I take things on because I want to be seen to be taking them on, or because I want to be in control of that thing, or it probably expresses itself in lots of different ways. But yeah, I think because I want to have a good reputation or whatever the thing is, but I'm not content to kind of be ordinary. I want to be extraordinary.
Yes. Oh.
Now, I remember, Amy, from your original interview, like when we interviewed you for the podcast, you were like, I'm a high capacity person. Like that was, part of your identity. And I was like, remember resonating with that. I was like, oh yeah, like it's a lot of what Rachel's saying. Like, I want everyone to be happy. I don't want anyone to be unhappy with me. In fact, what I really want, more than being kind, I want people to see that I am kind. You know what I mean? I'm like, I want everyone to never be unhappy with me. I want everyone to think that I'm really kind and never be unhappy with me. But also, I want to be like high capacity. I want to be like, I can do this. I got this. I'll just add it to my list. I've like ticking boxes all the time. And it's terrible to admit. But when you lift up, like, why am I so busy? And you look under that rock, there's like other things in there. But those are the two big ones.
Yeah. 100%.
Very much so. I hard relate to the pride of it all. Where you're like, I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I can take on more. Like I am fine. And
Just
also then also the free gift that comes along with that. Yeah, the free gift of, well, I'm really busy. So if I'm really busy and I'm doing a lot of stuff, I then get a free pass to complain about it. Because I'm doing more than other people and I'm very busy. So, and I'm doing, especially in ministry things, you go, I'm doing a lot of ministry things and other people aren't doing ministry things and I am. So I get extra Jesus points and he's going to like me more. Which is not true.
And also, like, if you're doing like lots of things and then you're like, oh, this thing that I'm doing is hard, I could take on a new commitment. That's also a fun thing.
Yes.
Do you know what's I want to put my pastor hat on for a second, or like my church ministry worker hat on for a second. Like, I resonate with this as a person who goes to church, but my role at our church, or one of my roles at our church, is literally to ask people to do stuff. Like, I oversee our teams and leaders, and actually one of the greatest gifts someone can give to leaders at church, whether they're paid or not paid, is to be really clear with their yeses and nos. So to like a quick no, someone who's like, I don't have capacity to do that, or that's actually, I can see these 3 needs and actually that one's a much better fit for me, or whatever. Like, that is such a gift. And then the person who doesn't reply to the message or doesn't give you an answer because they don't know how to say no, or the person who takes on something they don't actually have capacity for and then they pull out 3 months later, or like, someone who can let their yes be yes and their no be no, and communicate that clearly is such a blessing to the people who are leading you at church, because it means they're not spending their time. It helps them spend their time better. Anyway, that's my aside from how I experience it, from the other point of view.
No, I'm with you. Like, I think having only just in the last couple of years, like, coordinated a play group and then even starting with stories, but just having people who are like, "Yep, I can do that. I can't do that." Yeah, I resonate hard with that. It's actually really helpful. I have come to really appreciate people who are like, "I can't do that. Maybe come talk to me, like, in a year's time, talk to me in 6 months' time. I am interested, but it's no right now," is really good. Like, I
Mm.
really respect those people.
Well, yeah, and also I should say at our church, like just as often, like all the time, people are like, "I'd love to do that. Thanks so much for asking me." Like, I think it's really easy to ask the same, 10 people at church to do stuff because you see them doing stuff. But then there are other people maybe who don't get asked to do stuff who, if you ask them, would be like, "Yeah, I'd love to serve in that way. Thanks for considering me." Like people say that a lot as well.
Oh,
That's
that's really
yeah.
nice.
Mm.
Yeah. Which I think that kind of does lead us really nicely into probably the second question, which is coming a bit more specific. But and maybe Amy will start with you, but what are some truths that have helped you weigh up kind of those work, family, ministry commitments without ending up like doing nothing or burning out from kind of doing everything? Like, what's kind of helped you to make wise choices about your schedule and rest?
Mm. Maybe one thing to say that kind of pairs up with what Rach kicked us off with in terms of fear and then its partner of pride. I reckon maybe the thing in the gospel that helps us with that is to know that actually our security and satisfaction can only be found in Jesus. And so if I'm looking to my busyness or my ministry or my capacity or anything related to be the place where I am finding my salvation or finding my significance as a person, or yeah, that's they like those things can't bear the weight of my security or my satisfaction. That can only be found in Jesus and knowing him. Yeah. And so I think coming back, fixing my eyes on him, remembering the riches of the love that God has poured out for me in him, not because of anything I've done, but because of how loving he is, how generous he is.
I really like that. And it reminds me a lot of just as you were talking, like I interviewed Jill, one of our writers. So
Mm.
she talked about like her experience of compassion fatigue and feeling like, oh, like, so the interview is actually called When You're Angry, You're the One to Fix Everything. So she was like, I feel like I'm being dumped by a wave. Like, that was where she was.
Mm.
And as the interview progressed, what she talked about was that shift in identity where she was like, oh, actually, it's like being planted, like a tree being planted by the river. Just like, oh, I'm
Mm.
secure in who God has made me to be, that He's made me with limits. Like, I know exactly who I am, and I'm not relying on the things that I'm doing to give me
Mm.
like identity. Because I mean, it's like trying to catch the wind. You're like, if I want everyone to be happy, that shifts all the time. Like, I can't hang a whole identity on that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Rach, what are your thoughts on that? Like, what kind of things
I've
have
just
helped you kind of
I
grapple with
came to
this?
this discussion to get tips to help me with this. Oh, because I listened to a very good podcast episode recently, and I bring this person up every time I talk because I think she's fabulous. But Felicia Masonheimer had a conference. One of the speakers in the conference is one of the episodes, and the whole episode was called like hustle culture and
Mm.
this entire
Mm.
concept. And the woman who was speaking was in ministry. She was an apologist and sort of like a traveling speaker and stuff in the church. And yeah, she found herself in this cycle of busyness. And the thing that was genuinely helpful, because I love a bit of practical advice, because I love a good sermon, but you're like, oh, I just want you to give me something to do. Give me a job. And she said she started sitting in silence and sitting in silence in the presence of God, not just sitting in silence, but just she put a timer on for 5 minutes and would just sit and be still. And I have attempted to start doing that. And then what she said was she's now increased the time. And so she's up to half an hour now, but of just sitting and being still, because I am very bad at being still. And I will seek activity at anywhere. Yeah, so that has been, somewhat helpful. It's very much a work in progress. And I feel like I keep learning the same lessons over and over again. Like this week, I literally have worked 8 days in a row because I just keep picking up extra shifts because I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything. My kids are at school. Like, I could just work because it only affects me. Doesn't it? And I've learned that lesson before. If that's not a good idea, but yet this week I have once again done it again because I was like, well, a little extra money, sure. So essentially what I'm saying is I have not much advice for this, but I'm trying to sit in silence more.
One of the things one of the thoughts that's prompted in my mind, Rach, if you're happy for me to piggyback. I reckon this might not be exactly what's going on for the woman who suggested that technique, but I reckon one of the other truths in the Bible that helps us is that we're creatures and God is the creator, like not me. And I reckon that's one of the reasons that I struggle to stop is that I think I need to do it because it's up to me to do it.
Yeah.
And so it actually also affects my ability to pray. So I actually sometimes have to set a timer to pray, not to stop me from praying for too long, but to kind of say, you've got permission to pray for this long. Like this time is set aside to pray. And so that means that any other thing that you think you need to get on and do, that's not the most important thing for you to do right now. Because, I mean, even though praying, if I think through the theology, I'm like, yeah, that's the most important thing to do. It's not how I act, actually. I just think I need to get on and do it because it's up to me. God needs me to do X, Y, Z. Yeah, and there's a discipline in stopping and going, nah, God's in control, actually.
Yeah.
He's the one who's holding all things together. I can stop because I'm his creature, doesn't depend on me.
Yeah.
Bec, what about you?
Yeah, I would hard relate to what you're saying, Amy. Like, I think just the concept, both those things. I think, the concept of limits, you're like, yeah, God made me with limits for my good. Like, before the fall, like, they're not a design flaw. They're actually a way that he has made me. And if you look at Jesus, you're like, he didn't heal everyone. He didn't convert everyone. Like, he basically didn't really leave Israel. Like, and he did everything God required of him. And, like, he went away to pray, like, a lot. Like, he'd do something really cool, and then he'd be like, I've got to go away and pray again. And people would be like, wait, what? Where are you going? Why? And I think, like you, Rach, I'd find myself just, like, in these cycles again and again. I'm like, why am I running so much faster than everybody else? Why can't I sit still? And I think just actually that thing of sitting there and praying and being like, okay, I pray, this is the time I pray every day. And just being like, I don't know. Like, can you help me to understand why am I so busy? And talking to people in my life and asking them for, like, actual honest feedback, like, is uncomfortable, but I think it has, and I'm like, I'm not there yet, but I think it has brought a measure of change that I haven't had before. Yeah, you're like, what has God actually given me to do? What am I actually responsible for? Yeah, and I think, like, there's this Elizabeth Elliot quote, and I just I have thought about it a lot. And she's like, one reason we are so harried and hurried is that we make yesterday and tomorrow our business when all that legitimately concerns us is today. If we really have too much to do, there are some items on the agenda which God did not put there. Let us submit the list to him and ask him to indicate which items we must delete. There is always time to do the will of God. If we're too busy to do that, we're too busy.
And I think I was just looking at the question of what has helped you make wise choices about your schedule and rest. And I think the key in that is slowing down enough to make a choice, because I think we forget that every day is 1,000 choices, but often, I mean, for me, I'm moving so quickly that I'm like, yep, cool, 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 cool. And you go, I'm actually making a lot of choices without thinking about them and without going, all right, I'm saying yes to this. What am I saying no to?
Mm.
Because that was helpful advice that someone gave me once, which is so simple, but it's like, in saying yes to one thing, you are saying no to something else. Whether that thing that you're saying no to is rest, or whether the thing you're saying yes to is rest, either or. And often you're saying yes to a good thing and no to a good thing. And I think slowing down and actually trying to have intentionality, but also potentially scheduling things like your time to be still and time to pray, because without those things put in place, I often will just not.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have a structural thing in place that helped me with that, Rach.
Please.
So I also need to do that to slow down. And I potentially struggle with it more in my personal life. But in my working life, I just have built in a structure where I will always ask my boss if I can do something that's extra to my role. And I'll tell people, and I think that's appropriate, like, especially if it's outside of my church role. I think it's appropriate because that, like, they're my boss and I work for church, and if I'm doing something else, I should ask. But it also just, like, slows me down. So in all of the time I've been working for the boss I work for, I think for 14 years, I think he said no once. And he very rarely would say that. And I think when he has, it's because he could see that, no, you're above capacity, like, you're drowning. You can't do that. But yeah, it just gives me enough time to then think, can I actually do that? Is that the best thing to do? And, and I honor him in the meantime.
And has there been times when you've asked him that and he said, yeah, that's fine, and then you've gone, or maybe not? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yes, yeah. So sometimes just the discipline of slowing down the decision has helped me. Sometimes it hasn't even made it to him necessarily, or I might have told him, like, I've decided not to do this thing, or actually, actually at the moment, the most frequent conversation is like, will you regret it? Like, what will you think in the future about that? Like, so he's not saying you have to do X or Y most of the time, but he might say, yeah, will you in 3 months' time say, I wish I said no to that, which I have definitely said that to him so many times. Why did I say yes to this thing? Yeah. So yeah, it is really helpful in helping me. And now sometimes I've been doing it for long enough that it's just helped me say, I'm gonna have to think about that, if I've got the freedom to just decide myself, I've just got into the habit of saying, I have to think about it. I'll get back to you at this time.
Well, and that's like using, this is a very nurse take on that, but that's like using us as created beings, because like that is, you've made a neural pathway. You've made a pathway.
Yes.
You've put your brain into, like, you've trained your brain to go, oh, wait, stop.
Yeah.
And you go, like, we're designed for that. We're designed to, like, well-worn paths in our brain.
And
we can all do that with things you want to do. You can teach your brain to learn new things and have those, like, habitual thoughts like that. And it's
the neural pathway I haven't formed yet is the one that says no more frequently. So like I pause. I definitely pause, but I still, at the beginning of this year, a couple of times I've said yes, and then said no, or I've said half yes. I said I probably can do that, but let me confirm. And then when I've gone back to it, I said, actually, no, I can't do that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say no. Yeah. What do you reckon, Bec?
I love that. Just as you were talking, Rach, what I loved about it was it's actually just interdependent. You know what I mean? It is so lo-fi, but it is just, hey, there's a choice coming, and I'm just going to, like, I'm going to check with the person. Like, because I want the hit of being like, yes, I said yes to the thing, and I get to look like a great person. But then there's the you who has to live it, and the people who live around you who will have to survive you, who said yes.
Yes.
Like, it's just that, to be like, hey, do you, like, just that pause. Like, I think that's a really good, like, habit of actually just like, hey, I'm just going to pause. I don't have to say yes just yet. I'm gonna, can I think about that? Can I talk to someone? Like, I mean, I've had friends say to me, like, I don't think what you shouldn't do this thing because, have you seen it? Like, because of your schedule. And it's been wonderful.
And I mean, it's literally the like the story of Mary and Martha, is it not? Of like, Jesus is not asking you to do more stuff. Like, he doesn't, like, he's not going, you should get back in, like, go back and do more stuff in the kitchen. Like, he said, no, come and sit at my feet and listen. But yeah, I just want to be a Martha, because it's like, I feel she got the worst name too. I feel sorry for her. Out of the two of them.
What about Eunice? Well,
Yeah, but yeah, like, it feels so much more purposeful to be doing stuff all the time, especially if you're like, I'm doing it for you. I'm doing it for ministry, and I'm doing it, like, I'm doing good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, why haven't you said thank you yet?
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
oh man. Yeah. I really enjoy that.
Me
Now,
too.
yeah, I mean, I suppose the third question kind of, and I feel like we've kind of, I mean, I'm gesturing with my hands, like, we've kind of gone down river, but like we're kind of heading there. But it's like, yeah, like how does all of this look in practice for you? Like, what are some things that you've changed, and how do you rest? So, Amy, it's almost like, yeah, that practice of just that accountability, really, of like, I've got to ask someone, and then it makes you prompt to think about it, like, can I actually really do this? If I have to go and talk to someone about it, can I actually do this? Yeah. So, Rach?
Do either of you have, like, what do you actually, like, if you have time put aside to rest, do you do something, like, what do you do with that time, and do you actually feel refreshed after that? Oh,
How do I actually rest? No, when I started, I tried to start Sabbathing like a few years ago. Like Zach and I think before we had kids and we were studying and whatever, and we just had this really weird schedule. And at the start, I'm such a weirdo that I just had a list of things that would be relaxing, and then I would tick them off, and that's not good.
nothing says relaxing like a checklist.
I know. Doing relaxing things, tick, tick, tick. But weirdly enough, like as I've gone along, I've come to like I just know that I come to Sunday, and Sunday is the day that I rest. And so like for that, I'm like, okay, I know that I go to church in the morning, but I don't have to get up. Like, okay, I'm going to be awake, but my children can come in. Fine, we're going to go to church. I'm going to come back. Like the baby will have a nap. I will have a nap. Like I'll read a book. Like, I might do dishes or laundry, but like I feel like it's a lighter day. Like in different seasons, we've gone for a walk. We go for a walk in the bush, in the beach, or I cook something slow. But it's something for me, like those things feel like rest. And then as I've gone along, I have tried to get that feeling at like regular points of my day, being like, okay, at lunchtime, I'm at home, and I'm like, if I was at work, I would have a lunch break. So I be like, okay, it's lunchtime, so I'm going to sit down and eat my lunch. Or like at the end of the day, I'm like, okay, I've made dinner. I'm going to put my phone away, and it's the evening, and I'm going to have like a quiet evening. I might, read a book, talk to my husband, like just yeah. Life feels a little more structured, where you're like, there's a car. I think there's a discernment. There's a hard line, basically. Like there is always more things to be done, but knowing that there's margin and there's kind of rest on a schedule has been actually really helpful.
It made me think of the creation, sort of like there was evening and there was morning. That like rhythm of, I know it's a bit of a whatever thing now, but that makes sense. People that get up with the sun and go to bed with the sun, like the rhythm of the world is made for us to rest at a certain time, and then the rhythm of the week is the same. But I think it's in our current state of living, it's very difficult to feel that flow. And do you find that, Amy, as someone who works at church, is Sunday a Sabbath or is Sunday a work day?
Sunday's a work day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a bit shaped by the church I serve at, because it's a big church with lots of congregations, and so it's a busy day. I do try to have, I still try to engage in church as I still am a Christian who follows Jesus. I try to engage genuinely. But I reckon the thing for me is the reason, in terms of resting well, and I imagine this is true for mums of young kids as well, is the thing that's restful is doing something that's not emotionally outputting. And so I can't do that on a Sunday at the moment. Although on a Sunday afternoon, an ideal Sunday does have an hour with my eyes closed in the afternoon, just to kind of make it through the number of people that I'll talk to. But it does mean that the kinds of things I do, so you asked what things would I do, would we do to rest? For me, it's anything, the two kind of criteria seem to be something where I'm not outputting emotionally and something where my brain stops. And so it actually can be, some people fit in that category. So I've just had some leave, and one of my reflections at the end of the leave is, so I've spent heaps of time with my sister who's not working at the moment. She's on maternity leave. That has been very restful because it's a really easy relationship. We weren't trying to achieve anything. We were lots of it was just playing with her 9-month-old baby, And then, but the other kind of thing that has the same effect is something like gardening, cooking. For me, not everyone's grocery shopping, I experienced that way. While I was on holidays, I've been digging sand out of the garden. I'm trying to clear some space for some concrete to get laid. It's this actual very boring job that involved moving reticulation. But that actually, it was physically very hard work, but actually I felt refreshed by it because it didn't require me to use my emotions.
Yeah, that's a good
That's how I feel about cooking.
I love cooking.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I really, I would feel that way about writing, writing poetry or just writing my journal, or cooking or being outside. I'm not a particularly, I don't run, but just I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go for a walk. Yeah, those things you're oh, yeah, I thought I had a problem, but actually I haven't been outside and seen the sun for a bit.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just for me, it's just switching it off for a bit. So it's the ability to go, I don't have to think about that right now. I'm just not engaging with that. I come back from the thing, and that if there's a problem, it's still there. But sometimes my brain's been solving it in the background, but I just have got a break from having to feel those feelings. Or I reckon the other thing that's helped me, just to come back to Bec's original question, but while Rachel's clock was still turning, I reckon the other thing that's helped me in terms of patterns is, so in the personal part of my life, I can overcommit to stuff. All stuff that I want to do. It's not, I'm not obliged to do it. I like making friends, seeing friends, but I sometimes, one of the things I think that contributed to me burning out in ministry a long time ago was actually just my weekends were too busy and I did too many things. And they were all things I wanted to do with people I wanted to see, but there were just too many of them. And so I have worked out that, so I take a Friday off. I'm full-time at church, but that's 5 days. So I take Friday off and Saturday. And I've worked out that across Friday, Saturday, probably on average, 3 blocks is my max. So, and I think of a block as morning, afternoon, or evening. So between the 2 days, 3 blocks with something on is about as much as I can handle, because it's also the time I have to do all my chores. And I just need to kind of pace myself in terms of emotional output as well.
How good are you at that? How good are you at sticking to that?
I've gotten so much better than I used to be. I'm pretty good at it, partly because I've experienced, when I was really unwell, I had to do it. I couldn't cope without it. And so I've tasted how how it, the impact of it, I guess.
Yeah.
So I definitely still have weekends where I don't achieve it. You just can't control it all the time. And sometimes I want to honor my commitments. And so I might say yes to something a long way out, and then something comes up last minute that I want to do or I should do or whatever. But yeah, as much as it's in my control, I'm pretty good, because I think if I see a weekend filling up in the calendar, the panic starts to rise. And so that helps me at that point go, no, I really, at some point over the weekend, I just need to potter in the garden or read a novel or cook something or.
Like, I think what you're describing, weirdly, like we've ended up doing almost the same thing. But what I would have, like, it's almost like scheduling in margin, really.
Yeah,
Like I have this Google Calendar, whatever. Anyone who has ever seen it is just like, oh my goodness, like it's insane. It's unhinged, right? Like, and I get it. But for me, I can see my week and it's color coded and it really helps me. And I will put things in there that I, really like to do that feel replenishing or whatever in yellow. Like, so
the color of friendship.
But it's friendship. It's going to the pool to have a swim. It's like, lifting weights quietly by myself. Like, I have to do that so I'm not in pain, but whatever, I've come to like it. And I think like lunchtime, like whatever. But so making sure that those things are there. And if I look at my week, and like Amy says, like sometimes your week is more hectic, but you're like, you love people and it's inefficient, and sometimes you have to be busier than you want to be. But I can honestly look at my mood and be like, why do I feel so miserable? And I'll look at my calendar and be like, there's no yellow. Like, I haven't done any of the yellow things and I've had no rest. And that's why I'm like real grumpy. I don't, it's not everything else. It's actually just that I'm tired.
That sounds like a kinder calendar method than mine. So mine, I don't tend to schedule it in that way until I reckon it's out of control, and then I put in events where it's like in caps, all caps, stay home or say no. And it's like, so if I have had a few weekends in a row, or I can see a run of busy weekends, the clearest one up that's coming gets like the whole day blanked out with like, don't do anything.
Your calendar's really
No.
Yeah, that's right. My calendar basically shouts at me.
Are you free? Get out with
me. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, awesome. I love it. Like, we've come from like very broad down to a crossed arms emoji. Like, I suppose if I had to summarize it, I guess ultimately, like, it is kind of the water that you swim in. Like, yes, we are a busy culture, like what women are doing 50 years ago, 100 years ago is different to what we do now, but whatever. But actually, like, the only thing that we're kind of, as we've kind of wrestled with this, is the only thing we're really in control of is what we do and how we schedule it. And, these are like lovely opportunities to wrestle with like questions of identity. Like, who am I in God? Like, if I am not doing all of the things, if everybody is not seeing me as like the most kind person all of the time. But also, like, if we are able to slow down and be present and enjoy God's creation, like, that does make a shift in how we engage with other people. And I suppose, how we move through our days and how we actually do ultimately serve. Like, does that kind of sum up some of it, or is there anything else that like kind of captures that and ties it in a bow?
Or maybe just a thought to add. This is not the time to do that, but I thought that is like, maybe one of the things that helps us do that is knowing that like we're part of a community, and so I'm responsible for myself and for what I say yes and no to, and I can trust the Lord because He's placed me in a community of people who are serving. So like, if you're thinking about actually church, coming back to that first question, there's a body, and God's given the body to each other to serve each other, to build the whole body up to maturity. Like, everyone gets to be involved. And so that means I just have to do my part. I don't have to do everyone else's part.
I can be an appendix.
Yeah, some people are a opposable thumb and some people are a colon.
Yeah, and sometimes, like, maybe that shifts a bit as well. Like, maybe sometimes we're the, like, the ingrown toenail for a season, and that's okay.
Yeah. I love watching those videos.
The medical.
You know what else? Yeah. What I actually thought when you were just talking about, I was like, women in particular in the church, like, prioritizing rest gives other people permission to prioritize rest. It's that thing of, like, me being a, like, hectic, like, stressed person who's taking on all these things and annoyed at everybody else because they're not taking on as many things as I am. Like, me prioritizing rest gives other people, like, oh, okay, cool, I can do that too. And potentially it'll, the ripples around you of, like, allowing people, to rest together and to go, it's not my job to hold all this up. This is okay. I can relax and let my shoulders down and get my tongue off the roof of my mouth and just, it's not all up to me.
Not all up to me. Go forth and be a toenail.
Yes, actually. Actually, none of it is up to me. Literally none of it. It's not. It's
I love it.
That's it from us, friends. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, you can sign up to our free weekly newsletter called Stories I'd Tell You at Dinner. So you get essays, poetry, podcast episodes, everything, photo essays straight to your inbox on Wednesdays from March through to November from Christian women in Western Australia. If you'd like that, the link is in the show notes. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.